Hey everyone, I'm Joe and today I'm going to be doing a book review of the Ambassador series by Patty Jansen. The 4 books that I'm going to be mentioning in this video are Seeing Red, Raising Hell, Changing Fate and Coming Home. Now there are more books in the Ambassador series than just these 4. There is a 5th, 6th, I believe there will be a 7th and maybe more in the future. However, these first 4 books is containing the same set of characters, and it is one overarching storyline from the 1st to the 4th book. From the 5th book onwards, it is still the same main set of characters, however, it is a different overarching storyline, which I will probably read, but just not yet. So for now, just these 4. So, first of all, as far as the genre goes, this is what I would class as science fiction themed thrillers. Because it isn't actually science fiction really, because the science fiction elements are obviously very significant, because I mean there are alien races and such, but that's just the background, frankly. Whilst it being a big background, it's the thriller aspect and the sort of other aspects that are primary, though it just happens to be science fiction and sort of futuristic with other worlds and things as a result. And it's also originally published, the first book anyway, in 2013, so it is a fairly new series as well. As far as the plot goes, it revolves around the main character called Corey Wilson. He's a human, and he is the human representative to Gamma. Gamma is essentially in this book the sort of intergalactic version of the United Nations, basically. They're an organisation that allows different species on different worlds, obviously which humans are a member of, to interact and talk, trade, settle any sort of disputes without resorting to war, which obviously, because you're talking about intergalactic things, could be considerably worse than anything that we have nowadays, of course, on Earth. So it's a really interesting setup, and one that I think works extremely well, because it is sort of delved into and explored extremely well. The details are there. If you want to sort of ignore the details as such, or want to focus on other parts of the plot, you can do that without a major problem. If you want to focus more on the core side of things with all that happens, you can, and that doesn't affect the Gamma, although personally that is quite significant. So overall, the mixture is an extremely good one, and I would recommend you really trying to get into the diplomatic side of things, because it's not often that you come across a book that focuses on communication and diplomacy in quite this way, frankly, which I greatly appreciate. At the start of the first book, Seeing Red, there is an assassination attempt on the President of Earth, which is unfortunate because at the start of the book, Corey happens to be trying to have a meeting with the President, so he's right in the thick of things from the absolute start, and obviously this brings him into the whole sort of diplomatic relations between the planet far more than he would have been. I mean, yes, he is the main sort of human representative, but even so, it still wouldn't have been quite as significant as it was until this moment when there was an assassination attempt and he was sort of right there and a frontline witness to it. So events start spiraling out of control a bit, and I can't really talk about the plot too much, frankly, after this, because there's 4 books. The plot continues from book to book. Each book has its individual plot line, and indeed could be read individually. I wouldn't recommend it though, because the overarching plot line is really quite good as well, and indeed you'll get more out of it. Same with all books like this. It's perfectly okay on its own, but much better combined. I mean, it's written as an ongoing series, not as individual books. So overall, I would recommend it that way. A significant feature of the books is language and communication, because of course there are multiple other races in this book. A notable one is called the Coldie. Coldie are a humanoid type race. Obviously there are some quite significant differences and things, and indeed pretty much other than Corey Wilson, almost every other major character that you meet and indeed you see in the books is indeed from the Coldie race. So you get to know what this race is physically and how they psychologically differ from humanity, and it's an interesting mix, especially as obviously Corey is most of the time obviously just on his own. He's not the only human around for most of the books, and everybody else is Coldy and certain other races as well come into it, which is interesting. I mean, basically it's the idea of xenolinguistics, or alien communication in other words, and it's him trying to talk to all these other people who obviously have entirely different types of culture than what obviously he's been used to, and it makes for a really interesting mix. And it's something that I like. I obviously always like language and communication in books, so if that sounds interesting to you, then these books may well be the thing for you, because they do feature it in an interesting way. Like, for instance, the tense that people use when they are talking to each other amongst the Coldy is extremely important. You can do incredibly severe insults to somebody by accidentally using the wrong tense, and then create big problems for yourself later on when there's a big grudge held against somebody because you accidentally insulted them mortally or insulted your family or that sort of thing. So it's interesting, really is, and I greatly enjoyed this aspect. So as you can tell by what I've just said, the characters in the book are really good. Corey's explained and introduced extremely well. All the other major characters, which I'm not going to go into because there's a fair few of them overall, are introduced really well as well. Obviously, nearly all the other characters being an alien race, the Coldy, as I've said, just something a little bit different because they interact with each other differently, their culture's different, and frankly, the way they sort of try to solve problems, indeed, the way you look at the world in this is completely different. The book is primarily set not on Earth, well, they briefly go there at some point, mainly on another world where the Coldy happen to live, and it's obviously an entirely different alien planet, which is kind of Earth-like in a lot of ways, but not really. Is an interesting one, I think done really well. The worlds themselves are described well, and the environments are described well. The characters fit into their environments and the worlds extremely efficiently. There's no sort of weird environments where they're just being created just to be sort of aliening. These environments fit the characters, and indeed the characters interact with each other in a way that once you get used to obviously that they're an alien race, they work together in a good, sort of logical way. They're not weird alien characters, frankly. They're understandable, and they still use some basic elements of psychology, obviously, albeit with a bit of a difference, and it's just all aspects of the world and the characters are just really impressive. And lastly, I'll just mention the writing, which for the most part is extremely solid. Patty Jansen manages to keep a good pacing going throughout the 4 books, both as an overarching storyline and indeed each individual book is paced well. There's no sort of miscellaneous sort of extra information in the books excessively that sort of goes off on a tangent about some aspect of the world that doesn't involve the plot. That doesn't really happen. There's a little few explanations for certain things, but they are generally pretty relevant for most parts. So it's just good, solid writing, frankly, and I was actually impressed because I really didn't know what to expect before I read these books. So overall, these are some well-paced, fun, and well-written science fiction themed thrillers, which I would highly recommend for anybody just looking for obviously that kind of genre of book. Also anybody who has an interest in sort of communication, language, and that kind of thing as well, because these books do it really quite well. And with that said, that is it for this review. If you've read these books or would like to, then please leave a comment and we can have a discussion. All my social media links can be found in the description box below as well. And that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.